Coming up on today's show, the very first Model 3 is delivered in Europe, or I should say the European Model 3. Yes, there's been some around, but not officially. Anyway, stay with me on this. Also, GM's electric vehicles could be profitable, but not for a while, says their CEO. The Kia Niro EV sold out in the UK? We'll answer that question and a lot more to come on today's EV News Daily. Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. In fact, wherever you are in the world, welcome to EV News Daily. End of the working week, Friday 8th of February today. It's Martyn Lee here. I've been through every EV story I can find to save you time, pick out the ones I think you need to know about, so you are up to speed next time you talk to EVs about someone. Thank you as always to the team that helped me make this show. That is the gang at myev.com. They've built the world's first marketplace all about EVs. As more and more people get into electric vehicles in 2019, whether that's a pure EV, whether it's a plug-in hybrid as well, that's the place to go to. myev.com. Totally free marketplace, and you can do some buying and selling of EVs there. If you were in the USA, of course, I should add before you get too excited if you're listening around the world. So, this was the excitement that if you're in California, if you're in the USA, yes, you had this 18 months ago, but we are so excited here in Europe to finally get the Tesla Model 3 officially being delivered today. Well, Simon at Teslarati kicks us off with an Elon Musk tweet about the logistics challenges of how to unload thousands of Teslas from a ship in Belgium, the port of Zeebrugge, and get them into customers' hands as quick as possible. The arrival of the cargo ship carrying the very first load, the Glovis Captain, in the port of Zeebrugge a couple of days ago heralded new opportunities, but also challenges for Tesla. The massive vessel was carrying, they say, I've read reports between, I think it's come down to about 2,500 to 3,000 Model 3s, or maybe that's Teslas and there were some S's and X's in there. They are expected to start an electric disruption in Europe's passenger car market. At the same time, the arrival of the Model 3 means that deliveries to reservation holders here in Europe are about to begin. In fact, they did earlier today. Social media posts from around the Tesla community revealed that the Model 3 deliveries were then underway a few hours ago. That said, it didn't take long before Tesla became unable to deliver as many vehicles as they were estimating. On yesterday, Elon Musk had to take to Twitter to apologise and calm the situation down. He said this on Twitter, and I quote, "Sorry, many unexpected challenges with cars coming through Zeebrugge first time. Cars will start moving out in volume tomorrow." End tweet. Look, we've waited 3 years. We can wait another 24 hours. It's absolutely fine. People have been moaning online about the fact they got bumped by a day. And also, this is the semi-amusing thing, is it was a self-created problem. Tesla had brought forward the delivery dates, in some cases by weeks. So people got excited. Some even started their journey to go to a delivery centre or to go and pick the car up. And then, because of delays, Tesla had to put it back by a day, which peed people off. They went online, they complained, and it caused disappointment in a way that only Tesla could have engineered the situation, and we kind of love them for doing that because they are so ambitious. They're like, yeah, get your car today, and then like, oh no, actually come and get it tomorrow. Look, we love them for that optimism and that bullishness. But people are upset they had to either turn around or they couldn't get their car when it was promised. So meanwhile, Kyle Field at CleanTechnica was one of the very first I saw to pick up on a tweet from the very first owner of an official European Tesla Model 3. The first European customer took delivery of his car. It was today after a bunch of delays. His name is Fred. Fred is from Oldenzaal in the Netherlands and has been a long-time supporter of Tesla. He's even got pictures on his profile of travelling to the mothership at the factory in Fremont in California to lobby for the Netherlands, opening up its higher-end configurations of the Model 3 first to European and Chinese buyers, we should say. Allows Tesla to continue to build high-margin vehicles, and it puts the finishing touches to their plan for the standard range model whenever that is going to be released. But as happened in America 18 months ago, now we get only the performance versions, all-wheel drive versions, long range obviously. And so these are the cars that make the most money for Tesla, and there's another boat, a ship, I shouldn't call it a boat really, there's another ship a day or two behind. It's about 2 per week, I gather, leaving San Francisco. There is a very steady stream of cars turning up to Port 80 in San Francisco and loading onto various ships. In fact, I did get an email earlier today that I loved getting from one of the supporters of this show, way back actually when I first went onto Patreon, one of the first, Cesar Trujillo, said, I just landed in San Francisco and I saw some semis loaded with the prettiest sight, and he sent me a bunch of pictures of these car carriers all loaded with Model 3s heading to be delivered to the port, loads of them on the roads. And so we heard as well from Elon recently that the complete Model 3 production lines at the Fremont factory are only making cars for Europe and China at the moment. I imagine they'll probably have to not retool, but maybe take a break and then go back to doing... I mean, the cars are basically the same, aren't they? Apart from maybe like the license plate and some little kind of oddities. Like, if you're here in Europe and you've seen American films and occasionally, like in Jurassic Park, when the close-up of the dinosaur chasing, on US wing mirrors, it says objects in the rearview mirror may appear closer? What's the phrase? We don't have to. That's a legal thing. And so it has to be, but it's not on ours. We don't have those. We've never seen them here in Europe. And so little things like that, I imagine there are some different regulatory things. But once you've changed those over, they might do a week or maybe a couple of weeks of building US models. I don't know. I'm speculating. But for now, a ton coming to China and Europe as well. Congratulations to everyone who's waited for a Model 3. You must be so excited. This is... I try and keep this non-Tesla fanboy and to be relatively automaker agnostic, but you cannot argue that the sheer number of cars they're making has to move the needle for the other car makers as well. Let's talk about two of those right now. Firstly, GM. Incentives, credits, compliance schemes can only get EVs so far. The real test of their success will be when big, established automakers are making profitable EVs, says Green Car Reports. And yesterday, on a call with analysts to talk about the Q4 results, the CEO of GM, her name is Mary Barra, said that a distinction could come in the early 2020s. She reiterated that GM believes in an all-EV future, that the company's being repositioned from one that was trying to be all things to all people in all markets to a focused, strategic, agile, profitable company. And profits for EVs with GM, she says, won't come sometime between 2020 and 2025. And so Tesla's just had 2 profitable quarters in a row, genuinely, not just by selling credits, genuinely profitable quarters. There are other makers who I've seen, not official statements, but people in the know make statements about them, like Hyundai. So the Hyundai Kona, I believe, is very slightly profitable following the price increase, but the first ones they sold at the lower price weren't profitable. Again, that wasn't an official company statement. That was people who are kind of in the know making those kind of statements. So this is a huge achievement by Tesla, and the other car companies do need to be... We want to see them making profitable EVs. We want EVs that are affordable, but we want profitable companies as well to drive forwards. Acromoto is a new company, though, and Acromoto has started taking orders for its 3-wheeled electric vehicle. That is the Fun Utility Vehicle, the FUV. You've heard of SUVs? This is the FUV. It's called the Evergreen Edition. They promised to sell it for $11,900. It's going to cost $19,900 before tax credits and rebates. That's a long way from the price they said they were going to be selling it at. It aims to push down the price, they say, over time. According to Engadget, Acromoto plans to deliver 100 Evergreens by the end of June in Oregon, California and Washington. It's going to expand delivery later to other states and fulfill all US pre-orders. They've got 3,000 pre-orders by June next year. You have to put down a $5,000 deposit if you want one, and to order one now. It's got a 75 mile an hour top speed, a range of 100 miles, and yes, only 3 wheels. I'll put an Engadget link in the show notes. So let's talk about Kia then, the makers of the eNiro. The number of eNiros allocated to any particular market is limited, while deliveries could be significantly delayed. According to the latest news here in the UK, for example, the initial batch of cars heading to the UK for this year was 900. Went on sale about a month ago. They say that pretty much over the next couple of days, the final few are going to go and it will be sold out. And you'll have to wait until the end of the year for the next batch. And of course, that means 2020 delivery. So if you fancy the eNiro and haven't put an order in yet, I mean, you could phone around every Kia dealer in the UK, try and get the last couple. Otherwise, you're waiting until 2020. Auto Express said that deliveries for the new Kia eNiro were supposed to be commencing in April. However, as a result of the popularity and a production bottleneck, they say, buyers who did manage to snag one in the initial 900 model run are going to have to wait until the end of the year before getting those. John Hargreaves is Kia's head of fleet and remarketing, said that the battery pack supply chain issue is likely to remain a restraining factor for the next 18 months. Well, just a quick thought on that. I don't believe that. If that's true and Auto Express really have got the scoop on that, well done them for getting the story. But I just don't believe that those people who, the car is on sale now in its domestic market of Korea. The car is on sale in Europe. There are Kia eNiros driving around right now. I don't know why on the 8th of February, the UK market would have to wait until the end of the year, which is basically another year's wait. That's crazy for people who've put deposits down. And what about the US? Well, the US market is meant to be getting the 64 kilowatt hour Kia eNiro in a slightly different spec. Those deliveries were due to start after the UK. Does that mean the US is now waiting over a year? Or do different countries, I don't know how this works, do different countries have their different allocations, and maybe the US allocation will happen as it's meant to? Like I say, I don't believe that. I don't believe that what was meant to be an April delivery is now going to be the end of the year. Hey, by the way, can you imagine if this was Tesla making this announcement? They would be crucified by every blogger and so-called journalist that could persuade somebody to print their words on their website. So it's really bizarre. I do have a particularly one person, I won't say who it is actually, but particularly one person who I'm very chatty to on my socials. That's all I'll say, is he's in line. He's in line, and I won't say who he is. And so I'll tap him up for some knowledge. But he'll be furious anyway. Then that's going to be firmly in Model 3 territory then, if Kia can't get those cars out. Well, let's move on. And a study that you really couldn't make up. Demand for electric vehicles is reaching a tipping point for fleets, according to a new study that's been done by Kia. Furthermore, it seems as if the public perspectives are having a huge impact on fleet decisions. 71% of respondents saying that their organisation is nervous about purchasing a petrol or diesel car now. They are more comfortable purchasing an EV or plug-in hybrid. Up 5% from the previous reports. Yeah. You can't get any cars into the country, but you can do a survey about how fleets are ready for the EVs. Ready for what? They've got nothing to drive. Like I say, I don't believe that story. I really want to be proved right on that, by the way. If you have any information, you can always email the show, either in confidence or let me know. My email address is hello@evnewsdaily.com. Kind of disappointed because I'd love to have seen lots of those on the roads. Well, a car that has been around a long time, the BMW i3, is in the news next. The car-sharing firm DriveNow has announced that 130 of the brand new BMW i3s are going to be joining its fleet in London. The company, which is owned by BMW, says the new i3s, which are actually i3s, woo, they're lovely ones. The i3s is going to join some 50 older examples until those ones are phased out around April time, according to Business Car. Well, DriveNow says, the car-sharing firm DriveNow says its aim is to have a fleet that is 80% electric by 2025. The new i3s has a 160-mile driving range between charges, and it'll take the company's total current fleet to 720 vehicles. They operate in 9 London boroughs. If you're in the UK, these names will mean something to you. If you're not in the country, they'll mean nothing to you. Barnet, Brent, Hackney, Haringey, Islington, Southwark, Tower Hamlets, Waltham Forest and Westminster. You can use that car-sharing firm called DriveNow and get yourself behind the wheel of an i3 for as long as you need to. We'll finish off with a couple more BMW stories, just coincidentally. First up, a story from Inside EVs on a plug-in BMW. They're working on a new plug-in hybrid version of the 5 Series Touring, what we would call an estate car, what you might call a wagon. The 5 Series Touring, the prototype, has been spotted. It's been doing winter test runs, and the lack of camouflage suggests it's not far away from a market launch. It's a smart move for the German manufacturer. The BMW 530e iPerformance is the best-selling plug-in hybrid model for the brand, and another plug-in BMW coming very soon. For many people, although I always will try and persuade someone to a full electric car, for many people, cars like this are going to be so important. The engine there, just the engine there for peace of mind. Most of their miles they'll do will be electric. Then the next one they buy will be the next generation of EVs that's going to have huge miles. Let's talk about one of those to finish off. One of the new electric models in BMW's pipeline is the BMW i7. That's according to BMW blog in Munich. There's no official announcement about the i7. However, there are trademarks registered from i1 to i9, and they did that back in 2012, and then they renewed them last year. Expected that the i7 will be the all-electric version of the next generation 7 Series, and the range they're working towards is 600 kilometres. That's 373 miles. Lovely. Not a cheap car. Be a very, very nice car when it finally arrives. Thank you, as always, to everyone who's answered Question of the Week this week. Thanks to myv.com for setting our Question of the Week. You've got until Sunday to get this in. Here's your question. Which incentives, beside those already available in your particular region or country, which incentives would you like to see implemented by automakers and dealers to promote EVs? Email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com. Use the comment section of YouTube and Facebook, and also myv.com. Thank you to the 178 patrons of the podcast, whose generosity means that you get to listen to this. And if you'd like to add your name to the list, I'd love to read your name out. It's entirely optional, by the way, but if it's something that you've been thinking about for a while, and I know it's a financial commitment, so please don't, if that's going to be an issue. But if you wanted to, check out Patreon, patreon.com/EVNewsDaily. Have a look and see what it's all about. I'll leave the rest up to you. So, hello to everyone that I'm going to meet on Saturday, by the way, heading off to an EV meet in London, somewhere called the Ace Cafe. Looking forward to hearing a couple of really fascinating speakers and having a chat to a few people there as well. I'm going to bring you the audio on the podcast from a day, it's about 90 miles from here, in my little Renault Zoe. So I reckon that's this time of year. I'm getting in it in the mornings at 100%. It's about 85 miles. It's minus temperatures here in the UK at the moment, so the mileage has gone down a little bit. So I reckon that's 2 stops. Leave on Saturday morning, up the motorway, quick coffee break, quick 20 minutes charge, and then maybe another one near London as well. A couple of little top-ups, and same again on the way back. 90 miles up the motorway, no problemo. And looking forward to meeting a few people this weekend as well. On the podcast, well, there are 381 previous shows. You can download them for free. Ooh, we love free stuff, don't we? And they are online, and they will continue to be, thanks to the Patreon supporters. You can get new ones by subscribing to the podcast, and then you get them first and free and automatically. Just hit that subscribe button on your podcast app, or we can put the audio on YouTube as well. If you could do one thing for me, it would be to leave a review. Makes such a huge difference with how these algorithms, and if you like this, you might like that, and then this podcast gets recommended. So if you get to leave a little review, that'd be amazing. In the meantime, come and say hi on the socials by searching EV News Daily. Have a wonderful Friday. I'll catch you tomorrow.